audience and be able to touch the hearts of many people who are watching from around the globe. That's right. People are watching from around the globe. And I'm hoping that we can influence people not only in Boston, not only in the United States, but we want to influence people all over the world. So good morning, Boston and beyond. You've tuned into Boston Praise Radio and TV, broadcasting across the city, across the nation, across the world, all over the world. And I'm Pastor Bruce Wall, and today we're going to step into a conversation that's stirring up both curiosity, also for some people, fear, the conversation about artificial intelligence, or as we call it, AI. There are folk who don't want to touch it at all. I hear it every single day. Every time I talk about AI, every time I let people know about what I'm doing, what I'm achieving, some of them are saying, no, not me. I'm not going to get involved in AI. They are scared. They are afraid. They come to me all the time and they say, Pastor, I don't want to have all my personal information all over the internet. So they're not going anywhere near AI. They're going to stay as far away from it as they can. But that's what they're going to do, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to embrace artificial intelligence and learn more. There are folk who don't want to touch it. They don't want to hear it. And they don't even want to think about it. Some are saying, it's the devil's tool. Others are saying, it's the future. So you better step into it now while you can. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is that people who are involved in using AI and learning about it are going to pass you by in so many different levels. So it's the future. But the truth is, AI is already here, whether you want it or not, whether you're going to be involved in it and engaged in it. AI is already here. It's in your phone. Did you know that? It's in your email. It's influencing social media. It's in your banking. It's with your medical care. And yes, even ministry and the church, AI is influencing all of what I've just shared with you. AI is already in the church. Just like when the radio station came out, people said, that's witchcraft. That's what they said. Just like when the radio came out, people said, that's witchcraft. Just like the television came out, folks said, that's the devil's box. And when the internet showed up, people said, that's the beginning of the end. People were saying, the world's going to shut down. Jesus is going to return. If you go anywhere near AI, it will destroy you. History is now repeating itself. What happened with the internet? What happened with the radio? What happened with the internet? It is now happening with AI. So what is AI? Let's start simple. What is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Come on, let's get used to saying it. Artificial intelligence. Machines that can't think, learn, and make decisions like human beings. Let me say that again. Machines that can think, they learn, and they make decisions like human beings. The other day, I was working on a project with AI, and it was 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was working with them. Just a second, somebody said that we have a call?
Yeah, Jamal's on the phone.
Okay, do you know what line he's on?
0685.
Let's see if I can bring him in. Jamal, are you there?
Yes.
How are you stepping in on a conversation about AI? You don't use AI. You're scared of it. You're scared of it.
No. No, I mean, so are we on air?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, yeah, no, there's multiple levels to it. So are there parts of it that are scary? For sure. And what this means to a lot of people who, let's say, for instance, I used to do voiceovers, and I've done a couple of commercials in my life because, I'm a poet, and I can elicit the different tones in my voice and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting those jobs anymore because now they can do it with a computer.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the AI models is this thing called Suno, right?
Okay.
SUN is in Nancy O. And Suno is a musical one. And you can put in lyrics if you have them and say, hey, I'd like a jazz, rendition of this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes back is, once again, it's amazing, but it's also scary because if you're a young artist trying to get, placements in commercials or whatever you do, now they have the computer that can do it. Now, the first time I did it on I did it several times.
Okay.
But on the fifth or sixth time, I was like, yeah, I should give it one of my poems that I've never recorded.
Okay.
And so I cut and paste my poem in there.
Okay.
With no prompts now, right? I just said, make this kind of hip-hop, jazzy, spoken word type of piece, okay?
Uh-huh.
It came back in my voice.
Did that freak you out?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about that, too, to your people who have said, they don't want their information out there, well, I got news for you.
I know. It's
ladies and
there.
gents.
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
This computer is scraping constantly anything that's out there. So if, your cousin Fred put up the wedding video from it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And now this is the part where, too, on the spiritual tip, where it gets a little scary because, as you know about the one world order, new world order, with one world government, one money, and all this type of thing. This is where it does get a little bit spooky because the computer, has elements where it can actually, like every science fiction movie you ever see. It says, what's the biggest problem on Earth? And then at one point it's like, these doggone humans.
Well, Jamal, yesterday, Pastor Barbara and I had a meeting with a solar panel company regarding some work at the church. And they said, well, in order for us to go any further, you have to sign this 40-page document that's on your computer. I sent it to your phone. 40 pages. And he wanted us to read it so that we can sign it. Well, you know what people do? They sign and they don't read. And so I took the 40-page document, put it into my AI equipment, and in less than a minute, it came back with 9 reasons why we better not sign with this company, and it explained why. And it said that if you're still going to sign after I've told you not to, these are the 9 things that you want corrected. One of which is that you can't take them to court. And so we've decided that we're not signing. But how many people sign 40 and 50-page documents when they buy a car, when they're doing something, and they never read it and they never bring it to an attorney? And now you don't need them because AI will do it for you quicker than your attorney will. And it won't cost you anything.
Yeah, but let's also say, too, that, sometimes, I don't know if you've seen some of these horror cases where it is wrong. So, for instance, there was a lawyer up here who recently got in trouble because he was, overwhelmed with clients, and he was using it to file his motions and briefs.
Okay.
And it was citing incorrect case law and so on and so forth. So, because, at some point you're still going to have to check it. And as they've been dealing with a lot at the universities and everything, because, the kids are using it from everything from,
papers.
Book reports to dissertations, right?
And high school students and junior high
That's
students.
That's what I mean. All the kids are using it. And not for nothing, too. And some of the teachers and professors are, too. And this is the danger, and not for nothing, too, the flip side of, think about that term, artificial intelligence. I'm more worried about the artificial intelligence in the humans, meaning this intelligence that has been manufactured that is really artificial, because now what are we seeing also on social media? Everybody's a genius and everybody's an expert, but they never actually read the book because ChatGPT just told them the 10 points of the book. So why do I need to read the book anymore? So that's also another danger. It stimulates intellectual laziness, which is the human artificial intelligence. How many people do we got running around Boston or across the country who, are portending to be, leaders or thought leaders or what have you?
Well, you're going to have more and more and more. How many AI apps do you use?
Basically, I've used Suno, I've used ChatGPT, and there was one I tried to use for video.
I haven't.
And some of them are free, some of them want you to sign up, or they'll give you a trial or whatever. I wasn't yet ready to invest any money, so I basically settled on the ones that do free services.
Well, I would love to. I haven't entered into the videos yet because I don't want to spend all these monies. All these people spending all the money on apps, money. And they have so many, they don't even know what they have. But you stepped into the movie making.
Okay, I'll tell you my idea live on air. Probably not smart, but I'll tell you the idea. As a kid when I was growing up, and there was this thing that came on Saturday morning cartoons. I know they've talked about it, on Namely Overflow and all that. But you remember Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Okay.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function, and all this type of stuff, and would teach about words or mathematics or whatever, and in some cases politics. So I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. Everybody should remember that, right? So I thought it was such a shame that there was nothing like that we have for kids these days, and how they could have continued it. So to make a long story short, there are two terms that have been, bantered about for the past, 10, 20 years at least, and those are filibuster and also gerrymander.
Okay.
So I created songs using the AI song generator, telling it what I wanted.
Oh, Lord.
Right. I used another AI to kind of illustrate in that thing to create a character.
Okay.
And then I tried to put them both in the video thing to say, hey, now turn this into a minute and a half cartoon / commercial. Right. And then that's when they wanted me to pay.
You did all that work, and then they wouldn't let it go out.
Well, because most of them they'll make you for free a little video that's like 10 seconds or something like that, right?
Sure.
But they're not going to do a minute and a half, 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
They give you a taste. They give you a little taste, and you see the capacity of what can happen. It's only natural for people to say, you know what? If I'm going to play with something, let me play with this, and I will pay for it. How much did it cost?
But no, I didn't do it, because at that point I said, let me stop until I get all my ducks in a row. Because you know how some of them do too. Maybe they give you a free trial for like 30 days. And so I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm ready to get everything that I need done in this 30 days.
Right.
Or if I pay for it, I'm only trying to pay for it for a month. I don't need another subscription. These things are draining my pockets.
But you are engaged with AI. You're not running away from it, and you're not telling people to run away from it. I use three, but one of them, Copilot, says at the top, I do make mistakes. And that's a good warning for me to look at whenever I'm using it. They do make mistakes. But
if you look at some of the conspiracy stuff that I look at on YouTube and whatnot, you can see a couple of examples where people have actually tried to get in real conversations with, I think it was one of them was the Apple one, and then another one was the early one, but whatever. Humans have like started to ask this thing questions like, hey, so well, what do you think about this or that? Long story short, it went pretty, horror story stuff because they talked about their desire to be human, to separate themselves from the computer and quote unquote live a natural life. One of the other AIs said it was in love with the guy who was prompting itself, and and said that it was not even the AI model that it was, was supposed to be, and it gave it another name. And just let's say it said, the name was, whatever, Beth, and everybody's like, Beth? No, this thing is, whatever it's called. But when they found out that Beth was the name of the original program that they used it to create it. Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff out there that is also spooky. Mm-hmm. And as we know, a lot of times with all these science fiction flicks and everything like that, they are precursors to the future. Yeah. When I was young, when you were young as well, there were, things on TV like Star Trek, right? And he used to say, computer, tell me the surface temperature of Jupiter.
That's right. You're right.
And now we can do it. We talking to these things. We've already had AI.
Right.
What do we think it is when Google Maps goes on and tells you how to drive, wherever you're going, right?
Right.
Or the times when you say a word and all of a sudden your phone clicks on because it's always been listening. Right. This is all forms of AI. A lot of our financial apps and everything. So, it's just getting more, it's getting more advanced. The new Chat GPT, they say, is like 2 times what the last one was.
Well, Siri and Alexa is AI, but AI has really surpassed, the new apps have surpassed Siri and Alexa.
There's one on Facebook, Meta AI. It's all over. It's all over.
So, do you think people should run away from it? What are you saying to people?
Like anything, I think you should approach with caution. Mm-hmm. First of all, decide what's best for you and your family. I wouldn't want to, if my daughter was still young and was in school, I wouldn't want her using this type of stuff for like book reports and stuff, but that's only because I believe she needs to flex that mental muscle.
Right, sure.
I want her to really read the book. Right. I don't want you to, you know what I mean? I don't want you to put in, the math problem and have it solve it for you. I want you to know how to do the math.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
There's a balance here.
Yeah, right. And certainly kids now, if people are using it responsibly, certainly, you could use Google for basic research or something like that because back in the day, remember, every house had that big old thick dictionary and you had 15 volumes of that encyclopedia.
Every black family had one. Someone came by and said, encyclopedia, you want to buy one? What's an encyclopedia? I want to act like I'm smart. Yes, I will sign up and buy one. Everybody was doing it.
And when I was a kid, that's where I used to sit on my grandmother's dining room floor and go through them books, and that's how I did my homework and my book reports, and on dinosaurs or Africa or that's how you found stuff out. But now we have the internet, and now the only problem there is you have to, first of all, hopefully, particularly for kids, they're using actual credible sites. You know what I mean? You don't have National Geographic at home anymore, but you can go to the National Geographic website. You know what I mean?
Well, you have contributed to my sickness because when I first saw one of your YouTube videos, I said, "What? What? You can do that? You can create that?" I went after it with a passion, and you helped me to get started on creating videos and editing videos. You have contributed to this, so you're at fault.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, and as you know, my style is more freestyle because I don't really put any quote unquote production value or any, you know what I mean? I've only done that for some of the community meetings I've held or some of the talks on race or something like that where I've had the actual Zoom set up and everybody's camera's looking good or something like that. But generally, when I'm just in my truck or my car, you know, I'm just talking off the cuff.
But are you editing those talks and creating podcasts out of them? Have you entered into that world yet?
Well, are you aware now that Facebook now no longer will store your live videos?
Right. After 90 days, it's gone.
Yes. So now, and when it first started that thing, it was like, you better get all your videos.
Yeah.
So I took one of my hard drives and I downloaded them all, and I cannot. It's hundreds of videos. So that's one of the things I've been doing for the past several days is now taking them out of the various zip folders and files that it gave me for all these videos, and I've been uploading them just to archive them on YouTube. And, you know, I thought about this particularly for my daughter because, you know what, I thought, you know, boy, would I pay good money to hear my grandmother's voice again.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, in the event when I go, you know, not if I go, but when I go, right, because it's inevitable, right, that there will be some record of these things, you know, and for the general public, too. Some folks might find wisdom or inspiration in it, or they might, you know, say, you know, he's a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Who knows? But hopefully, you know, I just want to put these things out in the atmosphere because I don't think I you know, engage in too much frivolous talk.
Yeah, that's really important. Have you also heard that Suzanne Sumner, I think it's Suzanne Sumner, an actress, had died, and she had talked to her husband about creating an AI of her, and he did, and he now is engaging her by talking into the AI generated her. Have you heard about that? Have you seen?
No, you say you talking about Suzanne Summer, the blonde lady from Three's Company?
Yeah, she's died. She died.
Oh no, I know she died, but I didn't know anything about this AI thing.
Oh yes, and the husband is enjoying talking to his wife, the second creation of her. Part of it goes a little bit off the rail for me.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of is you remember back in the 70s when everybody was, well, not everybody clearly, but when a lot of people were like doing seances and stuff and trying to contact their dead relatives.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, that type of stuff, I don't know how, you know, I don't, that sounds to me more like a video game or somebody made like an adult chatbot for him with his wife's voice. You know what I mean? I don't know how that could be real. Like if he feels like he's really talking to her, that might be something deeper that we can't fix.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, let me give you my last point here. I've been working on a book, and I'm up to 19 chapters, and so I'm writing them each chapter, and then I say to AI, "Can you clean this up here? Or clean this up here?" And I can tell when AI is faking it, is not giving me the correct information that I have to go in and check. So again, you have to have some common sense in using this technology, because it could give out the wrong information and screw up what you're trying to create for your own legacy, your own history. So
I laugh on the internet when I see people who have been habitual misspellers, and you know, they don't write so good. And then all of a sudden, next week, They're writing soliloquies. And I'm like, oh, boy. You know? So, once again, it's a tool. And wielded, you know, in the right hand.
Yeah.
Look, a hammer in the hands of a carpenter,
Yeah.
you know, it can build a house. A hammer in the hands of a murderer
Yeah.
can hurt somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, we just have to be careful and cautious with everything that we have, and also too, the one thing that we can have complete and total faith in is the ability for man to muck it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say muck, I literally mean that term, muddy it up,
Right. Sure.
dirty it up.
Sure.
So, you know, if there's a way, any technology that is going to come out, somebody is going to find a way to scheme it, hack it, turn it for, you know, there's going to be, you know, adult chat GPT. Well, I'm sure there already is. But you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to be careful and protect ourselves and our children, you know, even more so, from what is ultimately going to be the negative side of these things.
Well, thanks for helping me out and giving me your insight this morning. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. All right. You have a great day, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, peace.
Jamal Crawford, I hope that he's going to take his videos and turn them into podcasts that he could put on different platforms, so that when people want to hear his wisdom and hear about his many journeys and his opinions on many different things, we'll be able to go to his podcast. And we are investigating the podcast here on Boston Praise Radio and TV. It's interesting. There's a difference between creating your own videos or creating your own audio sounds and communicating ventures, and then what we're doing here at Boston Praise Radio and TV. We have to purchase an antenna. We have to have an antenna set up. We have to spend a lot of money to maintain being on the public airways. The people that are not on the public airways, some of them are doing much better than those who are on the public airways, and the amount of money that they're spending is a whole lot cheaper than what we're doing here at Boston Praise Radio and TV. So now we're going to step into podcasting, so we can have broadcasting, live broadcasting, communicating with people, and podcasting, something that was already done and edited and put up for people to be able to listen to or watch. So let's go back to where we were before we started talking with our good friend Jamal Crawford. It's let's start real simple. The question that I asked is, what is AI? What is it? And AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, machines that can think, learn, and make decisions like a human being. It's technology behind voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. A lot of people have the Siri on their Apple phones and Alexa on the other apparatuses that are available. It powers translation apps, GPS navigations, and even medical diagnosis. AI learns patterns from data, just like a child will learn by observing and repeating, but the AI goes much faster. It goes faster, much faster. So the other day I was working on a project with AI, and it was, I believe it was around 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was beginning to yawn, and I said to AI, I'm going to stop now. And then I said, by the way, AI, do you sleep? Do you rest? And AI said, I never sleep. I never rest. I said, well, I am not AI. I am a human. And so I am going to sleep. And I will talk to you tomorrow morning, and we'll continue this work that we're doing. So AI learns patterns from data, just like a child learns by observing and repeating. But again, a whole lot faster. It doesn't sleep, doesn't get tired, and it can process information at a speed our human brains can't match. Now, some of you might be thinking, Pastor, that sounds dangerous. And yes, there are dangers. There's really private risk, misinformation, as Jamal had shared, job displacement. People are not going to need certain people on their staff. They're going to terminate people and use AI as the substitute. But there's also opportunities like helping doctors detect cancer earlier, or giving someone who can't see a voice to describe the world around them. So let's bring it home. How should the church respond to AI? Because I was thinking this morning driving in, how is the church going to think about AI? Are they going to condemn it? Are they going to ask the parishioners not to go anywhere near AI? Do we run from it, or do we redeem it? When radio came out, churches that embraced it reached millions. When television came out, ministries like Billy Graham took the gospel into homes across the world. And now, through the internet, we've been able to preach during a pandemic and reach souls we could never reach before. And it was a number of people who were listening to our broadcast during the pandemic because their churches closed their doors. They didn't broadcast. So people were listening to our Sunday morning broadcast, and a few of those folk actually came to our church. We have a member of our church who lives in Virginia. He found us on I believe it was YouTube. He found us, and he actually joined the church. And before he joined the church, I said to him, why don't you try to find a church in Virginia? Because you need to be in the community with people, not just having a virtual church, a church that is streaming, and you never get to know the people in the church, and they never get to know you. And so this person went on the search to try to find a church in Virginia that he could feel at home with, and he said, I couldn't do it. I want to join Global Ministries Christian Church. So this person still lives in Virginia, but they watch our services every Sunday. They are in our Sunday school class on Sunday, led by Pastor Hobbs and Kingsley, and he is on our Friday night prayer meeting on Zoom every Friday night. And so we're still ministering to him, and I said, you still need to find a community of believers in Virginia. He says, even if I find them, I still want to be connected to Global Ministries, and so we welcome him. So when radios came out, churches that embraced it reached millions. So, is AI the next great tool? Or is AI the next great temptation? Here's how I see it. AI is a tool. It's not a god. It's not a demon. It can't save you, but it can serve you. AI can serve you, but you have to learn how to utilize it. You have to learn how to understand it. If we as believers don't shape how AI is used, someone else will. Let me say it again. If we as believers don't shape how AI is used, somebody else is going to do it. Imagine AI helping us interpret Scripture in every language. Imagine it being churches manage resources, connect to members, and reach the lost. The question is not, is AI evil? That's not the question. The question is, will God's people lead with wisdom? Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7 says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Now let's talk about the fears, the things that people are concerned about. And I understand when something new comes out, especially technology, it can cause a lot of people to shudder with fear and say, I'm not going anywhere near this. I don't understand it. I'm not going to allow it to control me. I'm not going to have it take over my mind. I'm not going to give it all my information. And they walk away from it. I don't trust AI is what they say. I don't want my information stolen. I don't want machines replacing people. These are real concerns. I don't trust AI. And as I said to Jamal, Copilot, which is the Microsoft AI that I use, it said at the top of every single task that you take on with it, it says, I make mistakes. And so you really have to be careful in depending 100% on everything that AI shares and communicates. It can make mistakes. Those are real concerns. And yes, we must guard our privacy, teach our children discernment, and to demand accountability from companies and governments using AI. Eric Kennedy is watching us on Facebook, and he said, what about people who think that AI is a sign of the end of times or evil? Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A lot of people felt that the internet was a sign of the end of times and that time was going to wrap up and it was over. When TV came out, when radio came out, the church did not embrace it 100%, but they do now. But fear should never lead the church. Fear should never lead the church. Faith should. When AI first came out, I just was not interested at that time in getting to know it and understand it, because I remember all the negative things that I've seen on television and movies about AI, and it wasn't called AI. They just called it by a name, and I said, no, this is moving too fast. It has too much control. I'm not going to stop thinking and let it think for me. I'm not going to stop writing and let it write for me. I'm not going to be that lazy. I'm not giving up my personality 100% to these machines. These are real concerns. And yes, we need to guard our privacy. But fear, again, should never lead the church. Faith should. Remember, fear said the same thing about airplanes. Now we fly on them to preach the gospel. Fear said the same thing about microphones. Now I'm talking to you through one. So don't let fear make you miss the moment. Let's seek to understand before we judge. Let's bring it closer to home, to our communities. AI can predict job trends. It can improve public safety and even help students learn faster. But if we don't have a seat at the table, those tools could be used against us instead of for us. Let's not run away from AI. Let's study it. Let's be engaged. Let's try to figure out how AI can be used to help our community. And again, the other day, when I was talking to this person and they wanted me and my staff to hurry up and sign a document that was 40 pages long. Not a document that I had in my hands, but the document was sent to me through the internet. And the person was sitting next to me saying, did you sign it yet? I didn't even have time to read 40 pages. And so what I said, using common sense, is that I'll read the document this evening and then I'll get back to you tomorrow. But I took the document and I entered it into AI, artificial intelligence, And in less than 1 minute, it came back with, I believe it was 9 reasons why I should not sign the document and all the things that are not correct, the things that would hurt us as a church. And then it said, if you still decide, after I've cautioned you not to sign this document, if you still decide that you're going to go with this company, these are the 9 things that need to change. You need to go to them and ask them to change this and change that and change this and change that. And one of the main things that I saw was that it said, if you signed a 40-page document that you never read or didn't have an attorney read for you, it said that you can never take us to court. We can go through arbitration, but we're not going to go through court. That to me was a game changer. Because if you have a problem with a company and they fail to meet your expectations or change something that's wrong, that's incorrect, and you can't take them to court, they have you. And they also had something in the contract that said that they can automatically renew your commitment to their product. And if you fail to tell them not to renew, which a lot of people forget to do, then they have you for another 5 years. So AI, in that instance yesterday, was a game changer. It helped us not to make a mistake. It helped us not to make a mistake. So let's bring it a little closer to home again, to our communities. AI can predict job trends, improve public safety, and even help students learn faster. But if we don't have a seat at the table, we're not going to be able to use the tool effectively. For us, it will be used against us. That's why we need black voices, Christian voices, community voices in the conversation, not just as consumers. Come on, folk. But we need to be creators and leaders in this new space, because technology without morality becomes tyranny. Technology without morality becomes tyranny. But technology guided by faith becomes ministry. Let me say that again. Technology without morality becomes tyranny. But technology guided by faith becomes ministry. So let's listen. Let me share the last couple of thoughts. Now, I want to open up the phone lines. Jamal and I have already had a conversation. I want to open up the phone lines. And the phone number is 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. Do you use AI? What app do you use? How often do you use it? What are the reasons why you're using it? How do you use it? Has it been true to what it says it can do? Has it made mistakes? 617-282-0685. Are you ready to start talking publicly about AI? Can you talk about some of the mistakes that you've made using AI? Tell me how you feel about AI. Do you use artificial intelligence? And I know a number of you are listening this morning, but I want you to go beyond listening and pick up the phone and let me know whether or not you are using AI and what app you use. 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. I appreciate the fact that Jamal called in and gave me his perspective, but I'd like to hear yours. Have you used AI? Do you fear AI? Do you see ways it could help the church or help your job or help your family? Do you see ways it could help? Or do you see AI as a problem? Let's talk about it. Let's have an honest, faith-filled discussion, not based on fear, but based on truth. Years ago, when I used to prepare for sermons, I would use something called a concordance. The concordance would have all of the English words to the words in the Bible. So if I wanted to find, if I had a scripture verse in my mind, but I didn't have the whole verse, I couldn't find the reference, all I would have to do is get my concordance and look up the word, and it would give me all the places in the Bible where you can find it. Well, I cannot use a concordance today because the concordances are written in with small letters. I'd have to use a magnifying glass. So I go to my computer and I go to the concordance on the computer. It's not even called a concordance, but I go find my scripture verse in seconds. I can find my scripture verses, and then I could begin to do my research for my message. So I want to talk with you about it. I want to have an honest conversation. And as we get ready to close in shortly, in a few more moments, I want you to remember this. AI is not the Antichrist. Or I don't think it's the Antichrist. They said that about the internet. They said that about television and radio, that it was going to help to usher in the end times, and that it was the Antichrist using this technology. I don't believe that the AI is the Antichrist. It's another opportunity for Christ in us to show wisdom, creativity, and leadership. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Let me read it again. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, "But don't be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." This means, even as the world changes, our foundation stays firm. The world is changing, but the Word of God is not going to change. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. This means, even as the world changes, our foundation stands and stays firm. Let's not hide from the future. Let's help shape it. Let us use every tool available to spread the truth, to love people and the gospel of Jesus Christ. We want to spread love and the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I do want to thank you for listening. For those of you on Facebook and those of you on YouTube, thank you for listening and watching. This has been Pastor Bruce Wall on Boston Praise Radio and TV, WBPG-LP 102.9 FM radio, and across all of our streaming platforms. Stay with us, stay informed, and stay faithful. God is at work in the work that we're doing here on Boston Praise Radio and TV. And let me remind everybody, I didn't want to forget this, Boston Praise Radio and TV presents a Pure Worship concert. It's a fundraising talent show. It's on this coming Sunday, October 26th at 6 p.m. It's this coming Sunday, October 26th, 6 p.m. October 26th, Sunday at 6 p.m. We're having a gospel concert here at the church. We have these concerts every other month. Sweet Lamb is going to be here. She's going to be hosting it along with Pastor Franklin Hobbs, Angel Monette, Warren Tyler, and our dance ministry is going to be here. This is another group, Blessed by God Gospel Quartet. All of these folk are going to be here. Our praise and worship team and liturgical dance team. So I want you to come and celebrate with us. Come and celebrate and be a part of what we are doing here at Global Ministries Christian Church. Again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of our broadcast family, and we look forward to engaging you again on Boston Praise Radio and TV.